Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing with the Fanhome Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord with part 25, and it appears we are now starting on the Tyrannosaurus head. So without further ado, it is building time. Grab our book and get this opened. Here we have part 25, which is quite a big set with a number of pieces and some rather large pieces. So that looks like it will be the Tyrannosaurus neck, I assume. It gives us a nice sense of scale on what we can expect. There is a lot here, to be honest. A lot of screws and washers. A lot of different parts. So I'm going to take a lot of this out of the packaging. There's some washers as well. That's everything out of there. We've got some bits on a sprue, so I'm going to have to trim those. We've got our, I assume, lower jaw. I suppose it could possibly be the upper jaw, but either way, we've got a jaw with teeth. They're solid and surprisingly sharp. That must be the guns for the inner part of the mouth. We've got various parts here. Another part of the jaw, and then what I'm assuming is the neck. We have some new screw types as well. Actually, these are quite thick screws. So we've got these ones, which are actually very thick and sharply pointed. They are. Okay. I seem to be missing a part. I've skipped. I've skipped a stage. I've mistakenly skipped a stage. This is part, we should actually be on part 24. So I'm going to put this to one side. I'm going to go find part 24 and then we will get started. Okay, starting again. Here is part 24. So this we need first. And this appears to be the top of the head. Put the part 25 to one side, assuming it was the next one in the... Oh no, I think they're supposed to be like that. I was a little concerned that one appeared, this is obviously one of the eyes with the LED light, and up here was quite rough. It looked almost like it had been snapped. But both parts are like that, so I'm assuming that that is intended. But I guess we'll see a little more in due course. We have some more bits on sprues, so I will get my clippers. We've got our Tyrannosaurus head, and what I assume is the upper jaw with, again, quite sharp teeth. Another part of the head, our eyes, and as always some screws. So let's put those to one side. Yes, the eyes are a little weird. They're obviously cut at an angle, but equally the way they've been cut is quite rough, so it almost looks like the plastic has snapped. Even where they've printed, it's been cut off. I'm assuming, given both are almost identical in the cuts, that it is intentional, but obviously it was a bit of an unexpected shock. I'd be interested to know if anyone else has a look exactly like that or not. Alright, let's bring the screwdriver in. Get out of its holding. So to begin with, we want to get our head unit and our scalp cover, and that clips on like so, and then is screwed into place with 4 PWB screws. Oh, shoot. Okay, so we get 1, 1, and 2, which will go in there. 2, 3. What's interesting is even the instructions are showing the LED light as a rectangle. But given both are exactly the same, it is my definite assumption that the cuts are intentional. And given the shape of the eye casings, I assume it's so that they fit in nicely. But as I said, it was oddly a bit of a shock. And then number 4. It's interesting that the eye housings are on sprues where all the others so far haven't been. I do need to clip these out. I've got my clippers down in one of the drawers. Just get those out. All of these is just a pair of Citadel clippers. You can get any sort of clippers from model shops and varying prices from, you know, a couple quid up to sort of 10, 20 quid, depending on the quality you want. These are just a cheap Citadel pair. I think this is even the version which came free with the Combat Patrol magazine. They're decent enough. So far I haven't had a need to purchase a better set, although I suppose I probably could and should invest in something which is slightly better than these, but it's not an immediate need. Right. Anyway, back onto assembly. Fit one of the circuit boards into the inner support of the left eye. That's right. And this is left. So I'm just going to undo our cable tie. That can go out there. Unwirl our cable. And then I don't think it really matters which way they go in. Well, yeah, there's nothing to sort of hold it into place or anything like that. It just rests in. Actually, is it supposed to? I wonder if it's supposed to go in there, the back. I wonder if that's a better fit for it. Yeah, there we go. So if I definitely feel that's how it's supposed to go. Really isn't any clarity here on the actually, yes. The instructions really are awful in this magazine. But if you look really, really carefully, you can see the arrows are going up into the back there. And it is showing that the wire is facing that way. So that does appear to be correct. And again, I assume that's why it's gone in, been clipped at angles, just so it slides in a little easier. We then need to take our head and one of our eye sockets. Again, on a sprue. I don't know why these ones are on sprues and the others haven't been so far. But we want our left and right, so we do want the left to begin with. Wandering furs. There's nothing in the instructions either about needing sprue to cut these from sprues. So it does seem like a weird choice to have switched partway through. But that is our left eye. So that just sort of clips in like, or places in like so. And then we take the eye socket. The wire needs to come up through the groove, and then we need to drop the eye out again before deciding to place it back. Need to make sure it's up the right way. You'll see the thicker edge goes facing up. Then we bring in our socket, line that over both pieces. This one doesn't want to line up immediately well, or as well as some of the others, sorry, should I say. So you're going to want to press and hold it in place where you get your screws to screw this all together. There's my other screw. I went walkies. There we go. So pressing that into place and then just screwing it in. That's one. And then two. You can sort of see how that slid away from the lining up, so you do need to just make sure they're pushed into place. Careful, that one's done a little tight and has stressed the plastic. It's all perfectly fine. It's just careful when you're doing that. That's now holding the eye socket in place. Oh, sorry, the eyeball in place. So that's one. We're then going to do the same for the right eye. So we will trim our eyeball off of the sprue. Now obviously all of these bits coming off the sprue are being hidden inside the head, so nothing's going to be seen. Otherwise, if they're on the outside, you might want to look at maybe sanding down the nubs a bit, just so it's a smoother finish. But because everything's going to be hidden away and nothing's going to be seen, it's unnecessary on this particular model. Same with our eye. That's our right one, and that is so there. That one's going like that, so that the wire can come up through here. And then again, just place over the screw ports. Take your screws and screw that into place. One and two. One. Oh. There we go. Make sure that one's tightened up as well. Yep, everything's done nice and securely. Probably take that off now. I don't think it matters if you leave this on at this stage or not. So I've taken one off. I might as well take them both off. He says. There we go. So that's our two eyes secured. I'm hoping that because the eyes are boxed in, much like the Triceratops, that light bleed will not be an issue. I think it's far too early to be able to tell either way, but yeah, I'm rather hopeful that the casing for the eyes will stop any of the bleed. And it's maybe something that the saber-toothed tiger should have had more of a build with. And then all we need to do is take our jaw and push that into the head. It doesn't say anything about gluing, and I'm hopeful that these grooves here will hold this securely without the need for glue. This is, yeah, there we go. The teeth are sharp, so it's a bit of a pain to push in. But, yeah, that's not coming. Oh, I don't know. It's still coming out quite easily. I'm just going to pause this and have a flick ahead and see if anything goes up to hold this in place. I don't think it will, in which case I might just put a couple of drops of glue in just so that it can't be pulled out. So no, I don't think there's anything else which is going to go in and potentially stop this from moving about. It's not, if you leave it as it is, it's not going to fall out. It's not going to become, I don't think it's going to become loose or anything, but I am just going to put a couple of drops of glue along here just so that it can't potentially be an issue. So all I'm going to do is just do a couple of drops of glue along here. Again, the instructions aren't calling for this, so it's a personal decision on my part, just because while I don't think it will slide about or be an issue down the line, I just want to be certain that it is perfectly placed. And there we go. There we go. Perfect. So there we have part 24 all built and done, and that is the top part of our Tyrannosaurus head and the jaw. Since it's open, we might as well actually do part 25 as well. So, moving that to one side for a moment and bringing in part 25. We have our bits we already unpacked, our screws and accessories. So I think, as I was saying before, it does come with these different screws, which are actually really quite sharp, rather than sort of the flat screws we've been seeing. We got our two washers. We've got our gun unit. And we have our standard PB screws. We've got two plastic washers. I'm going to leave these in the plastic until I need them, otherwise they're going to get lost. And a couple of metal ones as well. I think I saw... Yes, we're also going to need the actual Megazord head, so I'm just going to grab that and then we will get started. Right, okay, so we now have everything we need to start construction. So initially we take our lower jaw and fit in the bottom part of the teeth. And so this is looking like it's going to be the same as the upper portion, in which case I may get... Yep. So before I push this all the way in, I'm just going to get a couple drops of glue on this. Oh, this one is a lot tighter than the other. There we go. Right. Just get some glue. A couple of drops. There's a go. There. Drop that. Set that up. And just push this all together. There we go. Strangely, while being a little harder to get out, didn't feel as tight of a fit as the upper jaw. So I'm definitely glad I've put some glue in there just to hold it. Then we need the gun, and this is actually asking for a drop of glue in the marked areas. Okay, so it wants some glue over these two bits here, I presume, because this will sit on top. Yes, that will sit on top like that and is easily removable. So you are going to definitely want some glue for this part. There's glue on that. Pull that away. And then line this up. So you're lining this up with the two grooves there. So line this up like so. Just push it on and push it down. And then when the glue sets, it should hold it in place. There we go. So that's that part done. We then want the two rubber washers which will go on either side of our lower jaw. Then we want this part. So we want to retrieve the top of the Tyrannosaurus dinosaur's head and the inner left ear. That one's the right one, so that will be our left ear, and this will fit on to the side of the head, like so. So you definitely want it with all the screw ports facing out towards you, with that forming the inner part. And you can see the pegs there go into either side there. So this just clips on like so. And then it will be fixed in place with one of our PB screws. So bring in the screwdriver. Try not to pick up 100 different screws and just have the one. Find your screw hole and gently put, right. This one you need to be careful with. If you hold it like this, you can see the pressure is causing the head to move. So you're actually better off holding it like so, so you can get a nice firm grip, but continue to keep it from warping or potentially snapping in any way. There we go. That's nice and tight. It's only the one screw at the moment, so that's obviously going to move slightly, but I assume as other bits clicked to it, it will become a little more stable. Right, then we need to bring in our neck piece, and a bunch of stuff is going to happen at once. So here, we will first off need the silicone rings, which is our little washers here, into one of the head holes. And we're going to need one of our plugs, and then a screw is also going to come to fit it in place. So we will open up this. Going to be interesting. There we go. So I'm assuming 4, yep, 2 and 2. We're going to want our clippers. I'm going to unclip everything at once. So these again are forming on the inside, so you're not going to see them. So I'm not too worried about any nubs of excess plastic, although I do like to tidy up just as much as I possibly can. And there's 1 and 2. Put those in the bin. Right, so we need our neck, and this is the top of the neck, with these 2 joints being the base. Then we need our washers, which are near invisible on this. Okay, So, right. Place the silicone ring onto one of the head pivots, which is this thing here, like so. And insert the pivot into the top left hole of the Tyrannosaurus's neck. Put another silicone ring on the outer end of the pivot. So we're going like that. And we insert this into the inner left ear. So, okay, so this is going to go up into this connector here. Make sure the wires are out of the way. There we go. So that's going to connect like that, it appears. Yep, that appears to connect like that. Then we want one of our PB screws and we want another washer, so carefully put that to one side and get our washers. Oh, careful not to send everything flying. The washer is going to go over the screw head. Down the neck to the rest of the base. I will get that into place. I will make sure that is lined up. And then we screw this into position. This one's a little awkward because the pivot wants to push out. Sorry, the other thing to make sure you're doing is getting those wires down the neck. I don't think at this stage it's going to matter too much, but as long as they're out the way, it's going to make everything that much easier. So I'm going to try and tighten this a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Just going to leave that like that for now. Right. Now we are essentially going to do the same on the right side. So we take our right head, or right in it, earpiece, clip that into place the same way we did before. Take one of our screws. That's it. There we go. Screw that into place. Again, trying to get the right angle for this is... Nope, I've messed up. So we're actually going to do the outer ear first. Apparently we're going to do the outer ear and screw the outer ear into place with a screw there. I'm not going to do that yet. Instead, I'm going to unclip this if I can. I'm going to leave this until I'm happy that both sides are tight enough. I don't want this too loose. So I'm going to leave screwing that one in until this side is done. But before we do that, we need to connect the jaw. So insert the left axle of the lower jaw into the lower hole of the left inner ear, which is going to be this one here. There you go. So let's push that into place. You want to make sure the teeth are lined up so they're slotting between each other, and that holds in like that. We're not actually screwing this in at all, so it's just going to be on the hinge there. Then we are going to repeat the process of the inner ear on the right side, and again I'm going to screw that back into place. Right side is definitely a little more awkward because you've now got the you've got the lower jaw. That clicking's me just pushing that against there by mistake, so don't worry about that. There we go, that's the jaw now properly situated. Put that down for a second. Get our screw. Line that up and screw this into place a little, and then there we go. You can just push that back into place and screw that all together. There we go. Our head. Then we need to do the same process of our pivot joint. So one, two, no, this one, where'd that go? I may have done this a little bit of an arse about face kind of way. Yep, okay. Let's undo that for a second. Let's push that into place. Let's bring this back in and push that into place there. This all sort of wants to clip together at once, and it's more quite awkward, and I've lost something. Come out. Okay. Right. Put our washer back in. And then right, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to work smarter, not harder. So I'm going to get some electrical tape. I'm going to push, he says, right, let's push that pivot joint into place, and let's put some tape there to hold it. So I'm just putting some tape over the pivot joint so I don't have to press down on it to keep it in place. Right. Let's fix our jaw. That's now our jaw lined up again. That's that. This is our right side, so to begin with we're going to push and make sure that's in place. That's in place. That's in place. There we go. Work smarter, not harder. There we go. Right, now we can screw this into place. So I'm going to start with the pivot joint and just give that a gentle screw there. Then I'm going to line up our main inner ear. And screw this one into place. There it is. Right, that one's now in place. The jaw is in place. I can remove the tape. He says that remove the electrician's tape. Now make sure both of these are nice. No, I can't. I've still messed up and missed the washer. Okay, I can put the washer on. Hold that. Put that over there. That's it. Give that a screw. Give that a screw. Make sure that's screwed in nicely. Make sure this is screwed. Nicely, and then you can see the head moves nicely on the neck joint, and our jaw also moves independently I feel the jaw could have been slightly tighter. Jaw doesn't feel loose, but it certainly could have been maybe tighter than it is, but it's fine, it's holding. But the neck joint, it's nice and tight, which is the one that now I'm comfortable to bring in and screw these two pieces, clip these on and screw them into place. There we go. So they clip in. And PV screw to hold them in place. Use a small screwdriver just because the way these are positioned. That's one, and here is two. And again, here's definitely another part where I would have liked a couple of screw covers. And I do feel from the high-end collectible this is supposed to be, that is definitely the one thing that is really missing from this, is the screw covers. Okay, that's now screwed into place. That can go away. And there we have our Tyrannosaurus head. There are a couple more bits to go yet. So we have, okay. So first off, we need to take our two wires. I believe they're going to run down the side of the neck here. We need our we need cable clamps, which are these bits here. And how are they going? It says left one, but neither of these. Oh no, they are there. That's a right one. That's the left one. So that's the left side of our head. So you can see this is running down the side of the neck here, over here, and then this is going to clip this way. I feel like it should go that way. Okay. Yeah. There we go, that's going to go down like that. Hold that into place, and the same on the right side. There we go, that's going to clip that into place. Now, then it's going to, we're now connecting our Megazord head. What I might end up doing before that is getting some electrician's tape and taping the wire on the inside of the head. I think I've got some red one lying around, so I might have a quick look at that in a second. Let's just see how this is going to fit. So, closing the horns, this will go in like so, with a couple of screws going either side of here. Yep. Okay, so it's going to end up being something like that. And the wires are definitely, yeah, I'm definitely going to go get some electrician's tape. Okay, so I've got some red electrician's tape. I'm just going to cut some strips off this, and oh, this one doesn't want to peel. There we go. So first off, where's my scissors gone? Let's trim that piece off first. I don't know where that piece went. That was strange. I cut a piece. It was going to be a piece for the bimper. It's literally just disappeared. Oh, there. The red's so good you couldn't even see it. Right. Okay. So I'm going to want a little bit of tape there. Stick that to one side for a moment. Take that and put this down along here so that the tape, there we go, that's better. That will now hide the wire nicely. Once the mouth opened. Okay, there we go. So let's bring in like that. What's the more can we see? Can't. What I might do is just get another small piece. And put that up in there. Yeah, just so it hides the wire a little bit more. It's not hindering the movement, but it does keep that wire hidden and tucked away. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Pull that right down like that. Take you over. Then very careful not to cut our wire. clip that into place, and again I'm going to do the same up at the top with there we go. There we go. Again, just tuck that wire in there. That's definitely better. That's that tucked away nicely so that you're not seeing too much of the wires when the head is moving about. Will also help prevent the wires catching on anything. So right. Okay. Right. Retrieve the Megazord head and turn the horns backwards. Then insert the Megazord's head into the back of the Tyrannosaurus. So this is going to go like that. Okay. Then finish the assembly by inserting 2 neck pivot pins into the lower neck holes of the Tyrannosaurus Dinozord. Save the leftover pivot pin to use if one of the others is damaged. That's a little worrying. Normally they just give you a spare in case, you know, you lose one or something, but to actually say to keep it in case it's damaged is, well, it's a little disconcerting, but it is what it is. Right, there we go. I'll bring that in. This will line up like so. Gently screw in like this. Before I tighten it, I'm going to do the other side. Which will go in like so. And then, once this is done, this will finish off our Tyrannosaurus head, which has to be the shortest assembly for a head so far. I suppose technically half of the head was assembled at the beginning of this, but this one doesn't want to screw in. Just going to take this off camera while I screw this one in, because there it is. That's one. That's two. There we go. And there we have our Tyrannosaurus head assembled. It's another big headpiece. That's not clipped in properly. think that's as best as it's going to go, but yeah. So there we have it. This will obviously eventually lower down for the transformation with the head coming around. We can see here that it tucks away nicely. I'm presuming it won't tuck away quite like that once the bottom's assembled and this clips into places and everything else. But at the moment it obviously lowers a little more than I believe it should do. The head can lift and move, or the mouth should be say so. Yeah, so the mouth can lift and move. You get a gun here, which is nice. If you look up, you can see the screw ports, which is annoying, but it is what it is. And again, it comes back to that comment I keep saying, I really wish we had screw covers. I don't think that would have been too much to ask on this, and it certainly would have helped. Especially if this piece ends up being showing. I'm not quite sure how that's going to eventually look. Hopefully there'll be something that covers over that, but yeah. The tape, or the electrical tape for the wires, definitely helps keep them tidy and tucked away, otherwise they're just kind of running down the side there. This isn't like the Mastodon head or the Triceratops head or any of the others where everything's enclosed, so you're not going to be able to see things. This one obviously is designed to be a little more open, with more maneuverability in it for the transformation. So as a result, you do have that visibility of the innards, which you don't have with the others. And either a tunnel or something for the wires would have been useful, but in a pinch the electrician's tape certainly does the trick, and is something I'd recommend for anyone building this, is just to get some red tape. You can see it blends in really nicely there. If you don't have red tape, any others will work, but you might find that it's a little more noticeable. But there we have our head. The only head left now is obviously the pterodactyl. However, looking at this, we are going to be moving on to the arms of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is a bit of an odd decision to move. That I would have thought we were going to get the body or something else, but I suppose we got the saber-toothed tiger legs, which are still just kind of lying around. And again, it comes back to that whole, I'm not a big fan of assembling this in parts, and when I say that, I mean, you know, moving from one Zord to the other, or building one part of the Zord and then moving on to another part of it. I understand it from a manufacturer's point. You don't want your subscribers cutting out halfway through a run because they feel they've got most of what they need. But equally, it does mean that we're left with a bunch of parts just kind of lying around with nothing to do. But there we have it. That's our head done. Overall, I am happy with it. I do like it. I like the gun inside. We've got the jaw. It was a little fiddly with this part where everything just kind of needed to come together at once, but it certainly wasn't the hardest or fiddliest part we've had so far, but it was done. It was nice. So as always, to close out, we will take a look at the next 2 episodes of This Week in Power Rangers. First up, we have episode 24, The Spit Flower. Don't Send Me Flowers. The monster of the week was the Spit Flower. This was the one where Kimberly and Trini were building floats with flowers and Rita tricked them into turning against each other. But as always, we get our episode summary, we get some nice episode shots. For the curious fact is, for the first time, the Putty Patrollers break into Angel Grove Youth Centre. And then episode 25 is Life's a Masquerade. This was the masquerade party with the terrifying Frankenstein. Wasn't exactly original there, and given that it's literally just a copy of Frankenstein's monster. There we have the monster. We get our episode summary and pictures. And our curious fact is Cheryl Saban pens an unusual script in which she pays homage to the great classics of literature like Frankenstein, Sherlock Holmes and Peter Pan. So there we have it. There's episodes 24 and 5. We have our Tyrannosaurus head fully assembled. And we'll now be moving on to more of the actual body parts for the Zords, which is going to be interesting. But as always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe, and until next time, may the power protect you.